Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very senior technology leader from Bangalore, India, Mr. Chetan Nagaonkar. Chetan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ashutosh, and a very good morning.
Thank you. Chetan is the founder and managing director of eStomi Technologies Private Limited. So, Chetan, let's start with asking a question about your own journey as you have built eStomi and what have been some of your challenges.
Sure. So the journey actually started in 2010. I founded a company called as OPS, which called as Obsessed Professional Services. Within a year, I realized that just being obsessive is not enough, right? And when I thought about it, I thought that we should be actually contributing towards the organization, towards the the business life cycle of the customers, and that is where eStomi came into picture. So the journey has been there from 2011 till now, and we have seen our ups and downs in terms of the challenges. We can talk about the challenges as we progress over the podcast.
So then let's talk about eStomi. Tell me about what kind of work you do here.
Sure. So eStomi Technologies has two verticals. The first vertical is with respect to consulting. So we provide consulting in terms of IT service management, asset management, operations management, and to some of our customers, we also provide them in terms of the cloud security. The other division, which I'm very close to, is our R&D division, which is located in Nipani, a tier 4-5 city in Belgaum district. And we have developed a product called as tussom, which has been implemented in a variety of organizations, including smaller, mid-size, and in larger MNCs.
And you said you started this in 2010. What were some of your own challenges and some of your learnings as you have been scaling up this business?
Sure. To be very honest, I think as most of the people in India, especially looking at the startups, have this ambition to get started. I had that something at the back of my mind, but it was not that I had a very great vision and a typical aspiration. I wanted to start it, and I had kept myself very clear that in case if it doesn't work out, I'll go back to job. When I hired my people, and even today, I tell them very clearly, in case if there is an issue, it will be my responsibility to ensure that you'll be placed in a better organization or with a similar salary. So the vision got, I would say, built over the period. And in 2010, when I had started, I realized that although I'm a very technical person and we can offer any kind of services, it is not different from any other startup that almost everybody is doing, right? And that is why we rebranded and had a very laser focus on IT service management and asset management, which is our core forte.
And, when I was reading about you and preparing for our conversation, your vision is to be a trusted advisor and the most preferred partner offering world-class IT service management consulting services. Can you break this down and help me understand for my viewers and listeners what you mean and give me some examples?
Sure. So Ashutosh, I have been on the other side of the table before I founded the organization, and I have been interacting with different vendors and partners, right? Everybody or a lot of people in this segment say that they know IT service management and asset management. And usually we have seen vendors coming, implementing, and then probably walking out. What we wanted to ensure is when we do something or when we contribute to the customers, they do not feel or treat us as a typical vendor. We wanted to actually partner, understand their pain areas, right? Walk them hand in hand, explain to them, what the pain areas are and how this tool or implementation is going to take care of it, and then, help them succeed in their, mission in terms of implementing the service management solution. The second aspect, which we had in mind, as you probably go out today, the Xerox is a very synonym for photocopy, right? So people say, okay, can you get me Xerox of this? And that helped me to set a goal saying that, can we have eStomi or tussom, a synonym word for service management? Anybody talks about service management, they should be able to say tussom in the same breath. So that's a little stretched ambition and vision that we have.
No, it's fantastic. But again, for my viewers and listeners, can you give me some examples of what is meant by service management in IT?
Sure. So you take any organization or industry, right? Today, either they will be providing a product or a service. Now, when you provide this, you will definitely need a support because your end customer, they need to reach out. A lot of people do that over phone and over emails, which is actually totally chaos. And they try to save some cost over there, thinking that they should be able to manage the show. One, it does not really help for you because through emails, you'll not be able to generate reports. Two, as a leader, you will not be able to run some, analytics and statistics to understand how do you plan, how do you forecast, right? How do you do the budgeting? So our tool will help in terms of managing, your typical service aspect of it to your end customer.
Right.
And there are different modules at a very high level. It's a service management, but within that you have modules taking care of your incidents, service requests, change requests, and so on and so forth.
You also strive to help customers succeed by reducing their costs, improving productivity, and providing vital statistics to senior leadership.
Right.
Three components in this common. One is, reducing costs. Second is increasing productivity, and third is statistics.
Right.
Can you give me examples without naming your customers, of course, but some examples of how you have actually done this?
Sure. So when we developed or when we decided to develop a product, we thought about it, and because we also have another division which is already providing consulting and implementation in this segment. What is the need of developing a product? What we realized is that the current set of products that we have in the market, you cannot personalize them based on your business requirement, right? So it defeats the purpose. What most of the organizations struggle is to accommodate their business processes, based on the tool features, which is probably not the right set. Second aspect is typically the service, right? Your support engineers are your soldiers for the organization, and it is very important for you to make their life a little less complicated so that they are able to provide a support. That's another aspect which has been taken care of. And third, as a leader, right, you are responsible to answer the questions. Is it worth investing service management solutions, right? In case if I do that, how I'm going to run the organization by taking better decisions, by having a better planning, right? Will I be able to use this data for budgeting? And what we have done is we have worked around those aspects. So just to give an example, let's say if you are a leader of our organization, and let's say you have, let's say 5,000 people or 5 lakh people working for you. If you need to take a call in terms of whether I can do this budgeting, let's accept as a leader, it's a norm in corporate sector. Every 6 months or for annual planning, we all go to fancy resorts, right? Stay there for about a week under the guidance of saying that we are going to do this annual planning. And before we do that, a lot of people spend their time in terms of preparing the slides, in convincing why my idea is better and how we can do it better. What we have done is we, at the click of at just one single click, we will be able to understand your organizational health card, right? You'll be able to understand, instead of saying, I think my gut feeling is we should hire 20 people this year. Rather than saying gut feeling, our tool will give you informed data, right? To take the informed decisions onto that. So that's what we meant by helping people in terms of taking decisions, ensuring that the churn is reduced, and so on and so forth.
Interesting. So let's come to your the tool that you have developed, your tussom platform. Tell me, tussom is obviously an acronym for something. So tell me about tussom and how does it work?
Sure. Thank you for asking, because a lot of people, and maybe you have a very hawk's eye to kind of understand that. A lot of people think that tussom is just a name. Tussom is actually an acronym. So when we decided to develop this tool, we wanted to ensure that we just don't develop another service management tool, but we provide a unified way of doing it. So tussom stands for the Unified Service and Support, organizational, operations management.
Wow. Okay.
Now, uh, why it is different
Hmm.
than existing tools is one, it is being provided on the same platform, right? So you have IT service management, you have IT asset management, and then you have IT operations management. Now, most of the people, when they intend to go with this implementation, they obviously ask, do you have certain set of modules like incident, problem, service request change, availability, capacity. So we have developed all those modules and have some of the latest technologies and features incorporated like chatbot, the artificial intelligence, compared and combined with NLP. So we have developed it not for the sake of saying that this is a very technical tool or this is the best tool, but what we have kept in mind is how we can keep it simple. We are technical people, but the users may not be technical, right? So we have focused a lot in terms of the user experience, the customer experience, such that when people use it, they should be able to feel very comfortable using the tool, and rather than thinking this is a technical, they should be able to use it in a way that they use their desktop applications, although it is an enterprise solution.
And a service like IT services or management of IT services is being offered by many, many different people.
Yeah.
How are you differentiating eStomi, and how is tussom adding to your differentiator?
Sure. So the first differentiator that tussom offers in the market, and that's kind of one of our secret sauce, right, is that rather than asking the customers to abide by the features of the tool, we ask the customers, hey, this is the core tool, but it can be personalized based on your business requirements. We have been implementing a lot of tools, and there is no tool in the market that can really claim it. I'm not talking from a configuration of data. I'm talking about customization, right? So let's say as let's say the brand called you may have certain set of requirements, and you can say, I need these kind of features within your tool to be suited to us, right? So that requires the change of source code, and that requires customization. You will have to wait until those are incorporated in other tools and until the releases are done. But with tussom, that's the flexibility that we offer it to the customer, and that's the huge differentiator. The second differentiator, which we will be able to announce it very soon, is most of the tools on IT service management and asset management, they take anywhere from 3 to 6 months and sometimes about a year for the implementation, depending on how complex the requirements are. We have worked out a solution wherein we should be able to manage the issue within a 1 day. So we are working towards a 1 day implementation, which should be able to subsequently and significantly reduce the cost of our customers as well, and obviously the time.
I've very seldom heard of a 1 day turnaround from a technology company, especially when it comes to software. Thank you. My next question to you is, that you're already in the high end of technology, and yet the technological world seems to be changing every day. How are you keeping ahead, not just eStomi and tussom, but all your people? How are you keeping everyone ahead of the technological race?
Right. I think there are two ways of looking at it, Ashutosh, and that's a very great question. Thank you for asking, because I speak to a lot of my colleagues as who are founders, and they also share their challenges in terms of keeping up with the technology. What we have realized is we have chosen a path in IT, right? So we cannot have any excuses, right? And IT, this is what I always keep telling people, that you say that you have learned one language or one technology, and the next day somebody else will get up either in US or in Europe or probably in India, right? And saying, I have developed this new technology. Are you willing to learn? You cannot say no. We realized this very early in the game. And at eStomi especially, what we have done is, whether the person is an intern or a seasoned professional, we ensure to get that person exposed right from the requirements gathering to design to development, implementation, UAT, right? So that he or she gets a first-hand experience in terms of ensuring that what is required for us to develop, right? What is required for us to support to the customer? If the current technology is not sufficient, can we go check out in the market and see if there is a different technology that we can learn, and most importantly, adapt and implement into the tool? And that is, I would say, it has helped us significantly to keep ourselves always on our toes.
Very interesting. And yet the world today is now talking of Web 3.0. You're a product company with tussom. How are you preparing as a technology company for Web 3.0?
Sure. So from my perspective, Ashutosh, these are my thoughts around that, because, I'm sure there are a lot of Web 3.0 gurus, but I do not want to claim one of them. What I think, to keep it simple, is one, I have tried to segment it into two different parts. One is the people. So usually my preference is, to have people who are, between 2 years to 5 or 6 years of experience, not more than that. There are certain people, but most of them are around this. Why? Because these people are enthusiastic. They are trying to learn something. They are trying to focus on their career path, and are ready to learn new technology. Somebody who has spent, let's say, 8 years or 10 years in .NET or Java or a specific technology, they are seldom willing to change their track, right? And they don't understand that technology is just a means, right? At the end of the day, we need to be able to cater to that.
Correct.
And the second point is, we also acknowledge that we are not expert in everything. Absolutely. Our focus is service management, right? So when we need to cater to Web 3.0, what we do and what we have done is we have partnered with the expert to ensure that we integrate that and provide as a one single platform and the solution with this. So just to give an example, we partner with IoT people. We have partnered with people who are good in bots, right? Because that they will have a laser focus on that, and the quality products, we should be able to integrate it and help meet the customer needs.
Very interesting. So Chetan, it's time for two more questions. My next question is that you also speak about moving team members. I mean, you're doing a lot of great work for your clients, where you spoke about improving productivity, reducing costs, providing statistics. But this comment you make about team members and moving them from the bullock cart to the bullet train. Help me understand this, and why do you use words like bullock cart to bullet train?
Sure. So Ashutosh, I think probably people who come from a small town village, they will be able to relate more to how I'm trying to explain it. I come, although I was born in Mumbai, I come and I was, I grew up in a very, very small village, right? And when I came to Bangalore, one thing to keep me motivated was every day I used to say, you are in Bangalore, so you better do something, right? You cannot claim and give excuses that you are not exposed to the technology, right? And that's how I kept myself motivated. But when I used to visit my native, I always realized that there's a huge talent, right? They probably do not know how to talk better English, or they do not know how to communicate, but there is a talent.
Correct.
Right? And I realized that I have grown, and maybe the time was good for me to grow. But today, with such competition, it's very difficult, that people get obviously biased and influenced with many things, right? They need better packages and so on and so forth. But when it comes to career path, they don't really focus, right? Somebody is willing to pay 20% extra, they jump there. So I think at eStomi, what we try to do is to ensure that we have a laser focus, we have a training plan, right? And we give them exposure even to the production systems to ensure that they understand the impact, and they learn faster. So typically the time that it takes, let's say for 3-4 years in other organizations or larger organizations, we try to cover it in, let's say, 8-10 months or so, by getting them exposed.
Wonderful, great example, thank you. And my last question to you, Chetan, and this is for the many, many people who will listen to our conversation. Based on your amazing journey and all your own learnings, what would you say are 3 lessons you want our viewers and listeners to take away from your own journey and from our conversation?
So if you're talking probably from, I would say, entrepreneurs, right? People who are interested to start. One thing is, I think we emphasize too much on failures, right? So I don't think there's something called as a success and failure, and it's very subjective at who is looking at what. Right? There's always something to learn. So first thing is, I think don't be afraid to fail, right? And I think don't get, most importantly, especially since you are Indian in India, right? And because of the socio aspects of it, do not get intimidated by what others may think of the failures. That's a very first thing which you have to really keep it in mind, and don't get carried away. Second thing is, don't compromise on ethics and core values. And I think probably you will have to really come to that point, right? When you're in business, you will be asked a lot of questions, right? Sometimes there are people who want guts, right? And you will have to think, hey, I need to do business. Should I do this or not? I think the earlier you learn your ethics and core values and ensure that you don't get, you don't compromise on that, I think you'll always be more successful. And the third thing is, I think there's a huge talent. I truly believe that there is a huge talent. What we should ensure is, if you want to do something, just do it, right? Don't think, shall I wait? Or, what will people think if I fail, and so on and so forth. So I think my third point is, just do it, right? Doesn't matter. If you're confident, you can always fall back to what you have been doing, right? But at least you will not regret that you have not done it.
Well said. And a great response. And on that note, and your 3 lessons, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be worried about what others think. And I'll add a little one thing, which I always tell people, that there are so many people who we keep thinking, what will they think? They're so busy with their own problems, they're not even thinking about you.
Absolutely. I think that's a best way to put it. Yeah.
The second one is, as you said very correctly, don't compromise on matters of ethics or your core values. And the third one is the famous Nike line, just do it.
Just do it.
Thank you, Chetan, for speaking to me. Thank you for talking to me about your journey, about eStomi technologies, about the amazing products that you have developed, which is tussom, which seems to be a product that will help a lot of companies and a lot of senior leaders. Thank you for speaking to me, and good luck to you.
Thank you for having me, Ashutosh. It was a privilege to talk to you, and thank you so much for conducting this session.
Thank you.
Care.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.